Some of the smartest kids actually stop trying. Not because they're lazy or because they lack potential, but because the adults around them praise them the wrong way. When a child grows up hearing, "You're so smart," it sounds positive, but psychologically it can create something fragile. The child learns that their value comes from looking intelligent, not from struggling, practicing, or working through difficulty. And once that belief forms, challenges become dangerous. Because if you fail, it doesn't just mean the task was hard. It means maybe you're not actually smart after all. This dynamic was discovered in a famous experiment by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck. She gave hundreds of kids a puzzle that almost all of them could solve. Afterward, she praised half of them by saying, "You must be really smart," and the other half by saying, "You must have worked really hard." Same puzzle, same performance. Then she offered them a choice, an easy puzzle or a difficult one. 67% of the kids praised for intelligence chose the easy puzzle. They wanted to protect the image of being smart. But 92% of the kids praised for effort chose a harder puzzle. They wanted the challenge. Then the researchers gave them an almost impossible puzzle. The smart kids quickly became frustrated and quit. Some even started crying because struggling meant they might not actually be smart. The effort kids behaved completely differently. They kept experimenting, trying new approaches, treating the failure like a puzzle to solve. Finally, the researchers gave everyone one last easy puzzle. The effort-praised kids performed 30% better than before. The kids praised for intelligence performed 20% worse. Their confidence had been broken by failure. Hey guys, before we continue, I just quickly want to let you know I do have a screen time reset guide available where I go over how your son can reduce his screen time by 80% in 21 days. Make sure to check it out. I put the link in the description for you. Let's get back to the video. I was that first kid. My entire childhood I was praised for intelligence. Max is so smart. Max has so much potential. It felt amazing to hear that. It made me feel special and valuable. But it also quietly taught me something dangerous. If you're truly smart, things should come easy. So if I had to work hard at something, that meant the adults had been wrong about me. It meant I wasn't actually smart. So instead of pushing through difficulty, I avoided it. I switched environments when things got uncomfortable. I avoided social risks. I wanted to talk to girls in school and at university, but never did. Because trying and failing would prove something terrifying, that I wasn't naturally good at it. So I stayed passive and preserved the fantasy that I could succeed if I wanted to. And that's the trap of what psychologists call a fixed mindset. The belief that abilities are fixed traits instead of skills that can grow. And for some kids, this trap is even stronger. Kids with ADHD or other neurodivergent traits often experience mistakes as emotional threat signals. A small failure can feel like shame or catastrophe, which triggers immediate withdrawal. I was never officially diagnosed, but when I look back at how threatened I felt by mistakes and how much I avoided situations where I might fail, I recognize a lot of those patterns in myself. It's not laziness, it's a threat response. The brain is trying to protect the child's identity. That's why one of the most powerful reframes you can teach these kids is incredibly simple. A mistake is data. A mistake doesn't say anything about who you are. It only tells you what didn't work yet. Instead of spiraling into self-judgment, the response becomes curiosity. What exactly didn't work? What does this tell me? What's the smallest next move? Notice what's missing from that reflection. No shame, no personality labels, no "why am I like this?" Just information and the next step. Another powerful shift is the word "yet." When a child says, "This is too hard," or "I can't do this," you add one word, "yet." But for younger teenagers, especially those with ADHD, "yet" alone is too abstract. The task has to be reduced to something concrete and small. For example, not math, but this one fraction problem for 7 minutes. Because many of these kids don't avoid learning. They avoid the overwhelming feeling of being flooded by a problem that seems too big. There's also a social version of this trap. Many boys avoid competitions, tournaments, or social risks because losing feels like losing status. If their identity depends on being naturally talented, failure becomes humiliating. So they avoid situations where failure is possible. But the real goal is not to teach kids how to win every time. The goal is to teach them how to not fall apart when they lose. And another identity shift helps enormously here. Instead of letting a child say, "I'm lazy," you replace the label with a decision. Right now, I'm choosing comfort over challenge. That one sentence changes everything because it turns identity into agency. It moves the child from "this is who I am" to "this is a choice I'm making right now." It's where real motivation begins. And here's the encouraging part. Mindsets are not permanent. Carol Dweck's research shows they can change. But it's much easier to change them at 15 than at 30 because a teenager's brain is still highly plastic. The neural pathways that connect effort, failure, and identity are still forming, which means the language you use as a parent matters enormously. I cannot stress this enough. If you've been telling your son he's smart, don't feel guilty. Almost every parent does it because they want their child to feel confident. But now that you know the research, you can change the message. Instead of praising intelligence, praise effort. Praise persistence and strategy. When he succeeds, highlight the work behind it. When he struggles, frame that struggle as growth. When he fails, treat it as information about what to try next. Over time, that small shift rewires how he sees himself. Instead of protecting an identity, he starts building real competence. And that difference can change the trajectory of his entire life.